Okay, give us a little background on how you joined the church.
It was very unusual how I joined the church. Um, I had been placed in the hospital. I was 19 years old, and I had been placed in the hospital. It was a Roman Catholic hospital in Edmonton, and I won't give you the details of it, but I'd been placed in the hospital with tuberculosis, diagnosed with tuberculosis. And in the treatment they were giving me, I was getting pneumothorax, and I had to be strictly bedridden, so I couldn't move around very much. And so I would. This was a long-term free service of the Canadian government, the Alberta government. At that time, it didn't cost me anything, but you had everything supplied in the hospital. And one day, there was a new cleaning lady that was cleaning out the rooms, as they do in the hospitals. They go around and they dust the shelves and the windowsills and so forth, and mop the floors. And this new cleaning lady saw me reading the Bible, and she said, we talked. I don't know exactly, can't remember exactly what our discussion was, but she saw me reading the Bible, and she says, "You know, there's another Bible." And for some reason or other, I realized what she was talking to me about, because I said, "Oh yeah, I've heard that there's another Bible that's called the Book of Mormon, and I've never read the thing." "Oh," she said, "I'll bring you a copy." So that is how I was converted to the Mormon religion. I was originally an Anglican. Up there it's called Anglican. Up down here it's called Episcopalian. And I had been acquainted and had attended the Anglican church on occasion, but I never did attend church unless my sisters took me to the Pentecostal church, because they were Pentecostals. And so I understood I understood some of the Bible, and I used to read it. I was quite interested in it, and so that is basically, very simply, there was a lot more involved, but that very simply is how I was introduced to the Book of Mormon. And of course, I read the Book of Mormon. I got the testimony of it, as many have, by the Spirit, witnessing to me that the Book of Mormon was true, and so I got other literature. She bought me other literature, and I eventually joined the Mormon Church.
Okay, thank you. And describe, if you could, where you were when you received the first revelation that the Lord gave you.
I had obtained a job a little ways out of Edmonton in a place called Spruce Grove, and it was a lumber and hardware store that sold lumber and hardware, which is, even today, you can find places that just in the country that have that sell lumber and hardware. And this was a small operation, and they needed a bookkeeper, and so I was their bookkeeper. And I attended very faithfully the Mormon church on the south side of Edmonton, which was a long ways away. And whenever I could, I attended that church. And one day I was working at my desk, and I had pondered, I'd read the Doctrine and Covenants, very thoroughly, and I realized that there was no excuse in the Doctrine and Covenants that we were not living the law of plural marriage. And so I asked the Lord very seriously what was going on. And I was sitting at my desk one day doing my bookkeeping, and the only other person in the store was Urban Gable, who was the clerk there, and he was a German immigrant, and he was very nice gentleman, and he came over to talk to me, but he for some reason he left me alone, and I received the first revelation. The Spirit came very strongly on me, and I just picked up the pen and I just wrote down the first revelation, which is the second section in the second book of Commandments. So if you want to read that section, that is the first revelation I received, official revelation, and I wrote it down on the McLeod Mercantile, a piece of paper that had the McLeod Mercantile heading on it, and I wrote it on there. And Dave has that a piece of paper with the first revelation written on it, just as it is in the second book of Commandments.
How did you respond or feel after receiving that revelation?
Well, I felt, well, what am I doing with this information? Why is it coming to me? I'm just actually just a very ordinary person, very low on the scale, because my education wasn't complete, because my father had a heart attack, and I had to take over his business when I was in grade 11 in school, which is whatever you call it down here is different. You have a name for it. And but up in Canada it's called grade 11. You have the first 6 grades, they're junior, and then you have the intermediate grades, 7, 8, and 9, and then you have 10, 11, and 12 is the high school. So that is up in Canada. And so what was I doing with getting this information? So I was a little bit surprised, because here the other side was talking to me. The Savior was telling me something, and I couldn't understand why I was chosen to do that, since I was I was an elder I had become an elder in the Mormon Church, but I was, I think at that time, I was the counselor in the Sunday school, or the Young Men's Association. I can't remember exactly, but I did have a position in the Mormon Church, and so it was quite a surprise to me.
Describe what it's like when you're receiving a revelation.
It's very hard to describe. The Spirit comes upon you, and if things come to your mind, I think a lot of people, they develop that same thing, but they don't get the source is not God. And they write down things, and they are able to write novels and do all kinds of things with that ability. But this is evidenced by the Spirit of the Lord, and it envelops you to the point you don't have any doubt that it is from the Lord. So that is all I can say. It is the Spirit of the Lord that comes upon you, and you're able to write using your own. It doesn't take away your free agency. You use your own vocabulary and words when you're writing these things down.
What would you say is the overall theme of the revelations found in the second book of commandments?
The overall theme is that is to make us aware that we should repent and follow God, and then He gives you many reasons why you should do it, giving you the as much as possible that we're able to comprehend at this time, because we are mortal beings and He is God, and His intelligence is so far above ours that it's very difficult for us to understand a lot of the things that He has to tell us. So He uses the most simple language that He can, so that we can understand what He's talking about. And the purpose of it is to make mankind aware that there is a God, that He does give revelation, and that He does know what we are doing, and there is consequences for not living His commandments.
What revelation has been the most surprising to you?
The first revelation that was most surprising, of course, was the first one, because I was dumbfounded. But one of the most intriguing one was when I received the information of who actually God and the three heavenly beings that organized this earth, who they were and where they came from. That was the greatest one, and that is in section 23 and 24 of the second book of commandments. That was one of the greatest ones. And the next one that really surprised me was when I was made aware that the priesthood was not given to Joseph Smith. The priesthood, Joseph Smith already had the priesthood before he came here. That's why the Lord could talk to him. The seed of Israel, that's why the Bible is mainly to the seed of Israel, have the right to the priesthood. And they have received this priesthood in the pre-existence because of their faithfulness on the other side. And so when they come here, they already had the priesthood. And this was evidence, I can't remember the section that is in the second book of commandments, or the first book of commandments, that explains that. It's in the history of the church where Joseph Smith were at the Widomers, and they were praying very seriously. They were promised the knowledge of the Melchizedek priesthood, and instead of being given the Melchizedek priesthood, they were informed that they already had the Melchizedek priesthood. That the Melchizedek priesthood is from God, and is given to man, to the worthy on the other side. So there is segregation on the other side. Those who do really good on the other side in the pre-existence, they're given special privileges, and one of those special privileges is the priesthood. And so when Joseph Smith came here, and he was a descendant of Abraham, as he reiterated in his revelations that he was, that he had already received the Melchizedek priest on the other side, and when they were given that information, the Lord told them in the revelation that they should ordain each other elders, and they didn't have the Melchizedek priesthood conferred upon them. When Peter, James, and John came to Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery in the forest, and they conferred upon him the apostleship. That has to be confirmed, because not everyone has apostleship, the descendants of Abraham, just the special people. And so when the apostleship, which was required to organize the church, was given, it had to be done by Peter, James, and John, and it was not given in the preexistence. But the Melchizedek priesthood is conferred upon man, on the righteous, in the preexistence. And when they come here, it has to be confirmed. It has to be a person has to work and able to use the Melchizedek priesthood. The person has to qualify himself, and then it is confirmed that he has the priesthood, and then he was given instruction. Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery were given instruction to ordain each other to be an elder. You were ordained an elder, but you weren't given the Melchizedek priesthood. It has to be confirmed. So when a person a man comes before, qualifies himself for the Melchizedek priesthood, he presents himself to the people, and they have to confirm that he is worthy to receive, to use this priesthood on the earth. And that is a great piece of knowledge that had to be restored to the earth. And you can read it. It practically tells you that in the experience, in the experience that is explained in the history of the church when they went to the Winnemers. And it clearly tells you that it doesn't say that they had the Melchizedek priesthood, but the Lord just said to them, you ordained Oliver Cowdery, and Oliver Cowdery ordains you. They must have had the priesthood, because it didn't say that they were given it. So those two sections, the section 24 and section, I don't remember, there's no section in the Doctrine and Covenants, but there is a section in the first book of Commandments that explains that.
Okay. What do you feel God is about to do?
Well, the time of the end is coming. I don't know exactly when it's coming, because the Lord has not revealed the time and the date, because it can vary according to the wickedness and the righteousness of man. Right now, the Lord is dividing the good from the bad, and they will eventually land up together, so that he can destroy the wicked and leave the good here on the earth, so that he can reign for 1,000 years as the king of the earth. And there will be the millennium is called, the 1,000 years, which means millennium. That is going to be where there will be peace on earth and goodwill towards men.
Okay, thank you for your time.